This is a hard pill to swallow. And that is this myth, the build it and they will come myth. Right? Everybody says this. It is based on a Hollywood movie that has no basis in business strategy. Build it and they will come was about Kevin Costner building a baseball diamond in his cornfield so that the ghost of his father who had passed and other baseball players would come and have a game of ball. Okay? It's a movie. It is not a business strategy. I don't know why people keep saying build it and they will come, because I'm pretty sure you realize that that doesn't actually work. Welcome to the Work Less, Play More podcast for busy entrepreneurs who are ready to ditch the hustle, stop burning out on busy work, and get back to having a life. My name is Lindsay Johnson, aka The Radical Connector, and I've spent the last 10 years teaching first-time entrepreneurs how to get customers and make money. Listen in as I chat with other hustle-recovering business owners as we share our top tips for, you guessed it, working less and playing more. Let's do this. If you are new to building a business and you don't have any business development or sales or marketing experience, of course you're going to be scrambling and working your butt off and not making money because you've got to learn those. Those are skills. And those are skills that take years to master. So really cut yourself some slack. Don't sweat it. That's my job. And that's what we're going to talk about right now. The 5 biggest myths in entrepreneurship that are keeping entrepreneurs from growing, but still keeping them bogged down in work. Now, you've heard me talk about previously that, it doesn't need to cost a lot of money or really take a lot of time to build a business, but it does take spending money in the right places and spending the right amount of time on the right activities. So the first myth I want to talk about is that it costs a lot of money to build a business. That's simply not true. Now, I'm talking about service-based entrepreneurs. So people who are taking their own brilliance and monetizing that, turning it into a business. Obviously, if you are in some sort of manufacturing or retail or, there's tech, there's other businesses you're doing. You're creating an app, you're developing a new software. These things obviously take a lot of money and you're going to be going to investors and taking out loans. But I'm talking about the lean startup, the lean service-based entrepreneur who just has to figure out how to monetize their skills and build some sort of system around that so that they're able to get customers. That doesn't require a lot of money. In fact, really, you could be getting your monthly expenses down to as low as $200 or $300 a month. Maybe $1,000 to $2,000 if you're really, really investing in those big programs. But if you're brand new, if you're under 3 years in business, you don't need to be spending more than a few $100 a month at maximum. The myth comes in that people think they have to spend a lot. And so they go out and they buy all these platforms and programs and apps and things they absolutely don't need. And they also invest in not the wrong business professionals, but they invest in the business professionals too soon. So I'm talking about things like marketers and marketing agencies, advertising agencies, branding, graphic design, website developers. All these business professionals are here to help you take your brand and your business and really level up, really amplify your presence in the market and bring in the right people, automate your sales process. But you do not need them in the first few years of your business. I promise, you really don't. Because the first few years are really about understanding your market, fine-tuning your offerings, developing your own signature programs or products or services, monetizing that, and then learning your own sales process. It's all about you doing the work. Now, after a few years, once you have all that nailed down, then you go and you put some money that your business has earned into those types of professionals to help you amplify. But their job is to amplify, not to build your foundations. That is your job. So myth number 1 is that people are spending way too much money on apps and also professionals they just don't need in the first few years. That bootstrapping time is really about you doing the work until you have enough information, you know your market and your business model enough that you can then hire those professionals. And that brings us to myth number 2, and that is that I have to work my business 24/7 in order to be a success. Not true. Repeat after me. I do not have to burn out and sacrifice having a life in order to build a profitable business. But what you do have to do is be smarter with your time and pay attention to when you're doing work that doesn't matter. This idea of cutting out 90% of the work that doesn't matter and focusing on the only things that are going to move your business forward in these first few years. When we are just getting going, there is a lot of work you're going to have to do. I'm talking about a lot of work. There's so much work, but that's not forever. That's just for the first few years while you are building up this momentum. You got to get things going. Once you have your solid foundations and you know what's working and what's not, you can then streamline that and, like I said, hire professionals. But in the beginning, we have to get you to stop doing all this busy work so you can save your time and energy for the work that matters and then go back to having a life. Because here's the thing with entrepreneurship. It needs to be sustainable. I'm sure that you've realized by now that entrepreneurship requires a lot of coming out of your comfort zone, learning so much, trying so many new things, meeting so many new people, and also like getting a lot of things wrong. Messing up a lot and learning. There's so much that goes into the art of building your business that isn't necessarily directly tied to revenue, but is a part of the process. And so if you're going to be doing all that, I don't want you to be exhausted and compounding with all this busy work. So when I say that entrepreneurship has to be sustainable, that's what I mean. I mean that you can't constantly be having the internal work you have to do, plus all this external work you have to do, to the point that you're burning out all the time or not having a life, losing yourself to your business. So this is the myth that we want to break, that you have to be working on your business 24/7. And in fact, how do we free up like way more of your time so you can go be a multi-dimensional person, not just a business owner, and have a joy and an ease in your business instead of feeling exhausted or burnt out all the time? And that takes me to myth number 3. And that is that I have to build a massive social media audience in order to make money. Not true. Let me tell you, people have been making money marketing and sales for eons, long before social media was a thing. You do not have to build an audience in order to make money. However, I would say that most online programs and specialists out there are really hyper-focused on helping you build your Instagram audience, your Facebook group, your YouTube audience, your Pinterest followers. Like, I could go on. Your blog, there's so many things. Everything seems to be so hyper-focused on how you build your online audience. And here's the question I want you to stop and ask yourself right now. Am I trying to build an audience or am I trying to make money? Am I working hard to build my audience or am I working hard to make money? Would you rather have 10,000 followers or would you rather have consistent $10,000 months? Because the activities behind each of those is very different. And so when we get into the world of audience building, so much of that is around content creation and spending all this time creating content. And really, if it's about making money, there's about 20 other things you can be doing besides creating content. And that's actually one of the things that we cut out fairly early on is you need some content. I want you building your audience. Yes. I want you having an online presence. Yes. But if our goal is to make money and not build an audience at this point, right, then we're going to change our activities. Otherwise, again, you're going to be working your butt off and there's going to be no revenue coming in. Not only that, if you're not getting up close and personal with your market, with your PPC, your perfect potential customer, are you even building the right audience? Right? If they're liking your post, but they're not buying from you, does it matter? And so now if your goal is to build an audience, that's a different strategy because there are some people who have a full-time job, they're supported by a partner or somebody else, and they don't need to make money and their only goal is to, be an influencer and which eventually makes money. And maybe they're an affiliate marketer, which makes money and their only goal is to build an audience. Okay, well, that's a different strategy. Then if you're like, nope, I need to make money. I want to expand my business. I want to hire professionals. I want to get out of my 9-to-5 job. I want to bring my partner home. I want to take my kids on vacation. If your objective is to make money, that's a different strategy. So when I talk about myth number 3 being around this pressure to build your social media audience and show up online everywhere, that's not necessarily the case for most entrepreneurs who are just getting going and need to bring cash in. All right, let's talk about myth number 4. And I'm going to warn you, this is a hard pill to swallow. I'm so sorry. And that is this myth, the build it and they will come myth, right? Everybody says this. It is based on a Hollywood movie that has no basis in business strategy. Build it and they will come was about Kevin Costner building a baseball diamond in his cornfield so that the ghost of his father who had passed and other baseball players would come and have a game of ball so he could see his father play catch one more time. Okay? It's a movie. It is not a business strategy. I don't know why people keep saying build it and they will come because I'm pretty sure you realize that doesn't actually work. All right. I just got to build a website and business will come. I just got to do a workshop and business will come. I just got to do an Instagram post and business will come. That is not how it works. And there is this kind of funny belief. I'll hear this all the time from entrepreneurs where they'll say to me, well, I thought my business would be here by now. I thought my business would be making this much money by now. Your business is nothing. Your business is a website. Your business is a registration number, right? Your business is not a real living, breathing thing that brings in customers. That's your job. You are your business. Whenever somebody says, I thought my business would be here by now, my first thought is, based on what? Show me your calendar. How many sales calls have you had with somebody, right? How much have you been engaging on social media with your PPC to bring them into your world to eventually get them onto that call with you? What are the business building activities, the RGAs that you're doing, not the busy work? So they're linked very much together. And I hear all the time, but it takes so long. But it takes so much work. And I try really hard. I gotta bite my tongue so hard to not be like, yeah. What did you think? Building a business is hard work. Did you think all these entrepreneurs that are 6 and 7 figure earners that are standing on the stages of the world and writing on their books and talking about how hard they worked, that they're lying? It takes a lot of hard work to build a business, especially when you're starting at zero and you're having to create your own momentum, build your own audience, build your own list, build your own clientele, build your own network, put yourself out there. Like, it takes a lot of work. And so Build It and They Will Come is really just crushing any potential momentum for entrepreneurs if they buy into that weird, random Hollywood movie myth that all I gotta do is build a website, all I gotta do is have a social media presence and the business will flow to me. That is not how it works. So now this level of hard work is not forever. You won't be doing it forever in your business, but the first 3 to 5 years, you're going to be working your buns off, which is why I say it is so important to ditch that busy work, because I need your energy saved for the hard stuff, for the actual engagement with your PPC and the actual selling of your products and services. Now, I understand that this word sales is really scary. Especially if you've never been in sales before. And I have included some of my YouTube videos here because I actually teach folks how to sell without selling. I very much teach attraction marketing strategies and this co-created permission-based sales strategy as well. At every step of the way, you are co-creating the sales journey with your PPC. You're never selling at them. You're always walking that journey together. So even though it's really scary, don't worry. I'm going to show you how to stop selling, start connecting and attracting, and then going down that discovery process together. You want the sales process to feel so good that neither you nor your PPC feels like you're in a sales process. That's the goal. And I'm going to absolutely teach you how to do that. And that is going to lead us into myth number 5. And that is that I can go from 0 to 6 figures in 6 months. Oh man, I am very public and very loud about that myth because it's simply not true. And yet it is pervasive out there in the world of online courses and programs and masterminds and gurus and experts telling you that you too can go from 0 to 6 figures in 6 months. I'm telling you right now, it's a myth. It's not true. Now, if you've been in business for a few years, you have nailed down your market, you have an irresistible offering, and you have absolutely nailed down your online sales process, I absolutely believe you can have a 6-figure launch and take a new program potentially from 0 to 6 figures in that launch. But can you go from a spark of an idea to 6 figures in 6 months? Very, very rarely does that happen. The first year is sort of just you fumbling your way through and figuring things out and figuring out mostly what doesn't work and your way to figuring out what does work. Can you earn an accumulative 6 figures in your first year or two? Absolutely. But this myth that you can get to 6 figures in 6 months, we have to let go of that, because all that's doing is, well, I think it's making a lot of entrepreneurs feel like big failures when they're not. They're still learning. And I also think it puts a lot of undue pressure on the business building process and shortchanges entrepreneurs from really learning and understanding how their business functions. The first few years in your business are pretty much just market research. Yes, you're making money. Yes, you're growing. But you are also understanding your market inside and out. You're understanding your place in the market. You're understanding your marketing messaging and positioning and your niche. You're fine-tuning your programs and your offerings and your services. You're making money. You're also building your reputation. You're building your audience. You're doing all these things in the first few years so that you can build a really rock-solid foundation to then be able to scale to be getting into 6-figure months. But does it happen in 6 months? No. Building a business takes way, way longer than others out there would have you believe. And so we need to let go of that pressure right now, because it's forcing you into a corner into making decisions or trying to create shortcuts in areas where you really need to be spending some time and understanding your market and your place in that market. So now, All of that being said, I shared with you those 5 myths that are absolutely holding entrepreneurs back. I don't know if any of those resonated for you. If they did, I hope it's allowing you to take a little bit of pressure off yourself and understand that building a business really does take time. And yes, our ultimate goal is to get you having that passive revenue, is to reducing your time, outsourcing most of your work, just you getting to work on the fun things so that you can have a life outside of your business and explore even more of who you are and what you want out of your time on this earth. But we have to get you there first. And that takes time and it takes a lot of work. I really encourage you to sit down and reflect on those 5 myths that I just shared with you and think about where you might be getting caught up in those and rushing things before it's time in your business, or maybe have bought into this myth and have internalized your own sense of failure or imposter syndrome around why it's not happening for you, and give yourself some ease and some slack here to be like, oh, I get it. Those people were just trying to sell me something. That's maybe not how it really works in the real world. And just start to feel connected to the fact that you are on the right path, that things take time. Building a business takes a lot of learning, and the only way you can learn is by walking that path, letting time and opportunity fall in front of you so that you can get the learning in. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you want to learn more about joining my community for new entrepreneurs and influencers who want to ditch the busy work and discover how to work less and play more all the way to 6 figures and beyond, please visit theradicalconnector.com. Check out today's show notes for all the juicy resources we covered. If you loved what you've heard, subscribe and leave a review. Happy connecting. I will see you online.